Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Before we get started, I'd like to shout out my partnership, Buy Games Cheaper with Instant Gaming. The affiliate link will be posted down below in the description if you guys would like to check that out. So I've been playing a tremendous amount of Gray Zone Warfare, and like I've stated in previous videos, I've been having a lot of fun playing this game. I don't usually create tutorials or guides. I like to focus more on gameplay, but every once in a while, I see it as a service to the community to provide some good, knowledgeable insight to a game I am very passionate about. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If there's anything you thought I missed, or maybe I provided some misinformation, let me know. But either way, let's get into it. Gray Zone Warfare is a tactical first-person shooter with elements from Squad, Arma, Tarkov, and even DayZ. A lot of new players are approaching this game with the mindset that this is going to be the Tarkov killer. And I've been hearing that a lot lately, and I will say this officially, this game is not attempting to replace Escape from Tarkov, and it certainly isn't going to cater to the larger Tarkov fan base either. This game has a lot of tactical shooter elements and so much inspiration from slower paced titles. It does have a lot of similarities to Escape from Tarkov, but I think it's very far-fetched to say that this is trying to replace the game in any way. Gray Zone Warfare is not the type of game to be sprinting around everywhere trying to get crazy kills. You will want to take your time and coordinate with your team if you do have one. Picking a faction in Gray Zone Warfare isn't as impactful as you would probably think. The faction FOBs or main bases are all relatively the same across all factions, just mirrored to look slightly different than the others. The factions also currently do not have any distinct clothing differences or even armbands or patches. This is something that will be addressed later on by the developers, but as of right now, the only major difference with factions is the lore behind them and their placement on the map. One important thing you'll want to take note is that you'll only be able to play with players of your own faction, so make sure you and your friends all pick the same faction, otherwise you won't be able to play together. Next, we're going to explain the core gameplay loop and mechanics. First things first, there are two different game mode options, and this is very important. There is a PvE VP game mode called Warfare and a PvE game mode called Joint Operations. The progression from either of these modes will be consistent regardless of which one you choose. I would highly recommend starting out with the PvE mode to get used to the game's mechanics before attempting the PvE VP game mode. Next, we're going to go over the inventory system. Now, if you're not familiar to games like Escape from Tarkov, you might have a hard time understanding what's going on here with the inventory. On the left side here on screen is the equipment currently on your character. On the right side is your stash, which is kept at your FOB or home base. This is a safe location, and you cannot lose any of these items in your stash unless you bring them out into a deployment. Going through the equipment slots here, pretty basic stuff for the most part. You've got your helmet slot, 2 slots for face wear, a primary weapon slot, a sidearm slot, your knife or melee, body armor or plate carrier, and headphones. The headphones are called Comtacs, and in-game they essentially boost your hearing capabilities. We've also got a spot for your backpack, tactical belt, secure container, and pockets. Now, anything you place in your secure container will not be lost on death. However, anything else on your character in these equipment slots and your backpack will be lost if you go down in the field. You can actually retrieve your body if you die, but we will talk about that in a moment. Now, in your equipment, you will notice a little lightning bolt symbol on some of your equipment slots. This is extremely important right here. You'll want to put items like magazines and medical equipment into these slots and prioritize these slots for those specific items. You can only reload and provide quick medical attention to yourself if these items are in your plate carrier or rig, tactical belt, or pockets. This same thing applies when applying medical attention to your team members as well. In order to apply quick medical attention to yourself, hold the H key, then scroll to your desired medical item and single hit H again. This is much quicker quicker than opening up your inventory and applying medical items by right-clicking and applying them. Before we head out, you'll also want to take a look at your vendors. These are traders that allow you to purchase as well as sell specific items. To access this, you just hit tab like we did to bring up the inventory menu with the stash. It's going to be located at the top here. Just a disclaimer here, I haven't made it too far into leveling the vendors yet. You do have to go through quite a few tasks to level these vendors, so I unfortunately cannot show off what is fully available at max level vendors, and I also don't know what the highest grade you can get to for the vendors either. Now, Handshake will sell and purchase clothing items like helmets, backpacks, and body armor. Gunny will sell and purchase anything related to firearms, including ammo and attachments. Lab Rat will only sell and purchase medical related items as well as some miscellaneous items. I could be wrong here. Artisan specializes in insurgent type firearms and equipment. If you're a fan of running AKs and SKSs, you'll be wanting to level her up for sure. Now, Turncoat also looks to sell the insurgent style type of firearms as well. He also looks to be selling different types of helmets too. Unfortunately, I haven't unlocked Banshee yet, so I cannot provide accurate information as to what he sells or purchases at this time. There's a few things to note regarding armor and ammunition. For armor, you'll want to pay attention to a few details when determining the level of protection. The minimum protection of body armor or a plate carrier is level 2A. This is the lowest level of protection available. The next is level 2, then 3A, level 3, and then level 3+. Now, I am unsure, but I believe there may be a level 4 armor grade, but I might be misinformed with this. Either way, the armor is based upon real-life armor standards, so this is very useful information when determining what's better to use. Another thing to look at is the front and back side panels. You'll notice that the level 2A plate carrier on the left here on screen has a front, back, and side protection, whilst the carrier in the middle of the screen here and the carrier on the right-hand side of the screen has a front and back protection available for these ones. This is something to also take into consideration. You also want to be mindful of the protection material, with steel being the best protection and ceramic being the second best. I am not too sure about the other protection types. All I know is that steel is pretty much the best available armor type of protection material. Keep in mind that there are also body armors available within the game which require you to wear a tactical rig on top of it, so also keep that in mind when choosing your loadout. Addressing ammunition types really quickly, there are different types of ammunition just like in real life. These ammo types serve different purposes, and you'll notice that stronger, more expensive ammo types prove to be more sufficient against AI enemies and players with decent armor. Now, I don't have all the ammo unlocked, so I can't really be super detailed with this, but on screen you'll see several different ammo variants for 5.56 that you can buy from Gunny at grade 2. Take note of the muzzle velocity and dispersion of each type of round, as well as its purpose, which is written in the description. Choosing the SP ammo type would be a decent choice for dealing with AIs in the starter town, since they typically don't wear good body armor. HPBT ammo might be good for hitting targets at longer ranges due to its muzzle velocity, and the M855 or M856 rounds would be a good choice for combating targets with decent body armor. I'm sure someone will eventually have a detailed guide and even an elaborate graph showing off all these ammo types in the game, but as of right now, we only have speculation based off of what is presented to us. Before going out on your first deployment, you'll want to do a pre-deployment check to ensure you have everything you need to avoid any complications in game. First, make sure you have a firearm with a matching magazine type that goes to that firearm that you're going to use. Also, make sure you bring some additional ammunition in your inventory. You can always repack mags during the deployment. You also have the ability to do a firearms manipulation check. Hold Alt and V on your keyboard to do a full firearm check. This will inspect your firearm, ensuring you have a full magazine and a round in the chamber. You can also perform different variations of this check. Hold Shift and V to check your chamber, and simply press V to check your magazine. The fire selector hotkey is B as in Bravo by default. You can also do a fire selector check by holding Alt B, B as in Bravo. Next, make sure you have medical supplies in your inventory. You'll want to use either bandages or tourniquets tourniquets to stop bleeds that occur. The tourniquets are faster than the bandages, so I'd highly recommend keeping those in your pockets, rig, or tactical belt instead of inside of your secure container. The reason for this is that it's obviously much quicker. Like we stated before, you hold H and you can bring up a little menu that'll allow you to select the medical items that are available in your pockets. You can also give yourself a blood transfusion during a deployment, so keep a blood bag in your container. Just remember to put it into either your pockets, vest, or tactical rig if you want to apply these medical items to a team member that is downed and in a coma. Lastly, you'll want to grab your first tasks or missions that are available. These can be obtained from the vendors. I'd recommend prioritizing tasks since they give you additional money and gear, and it's also the primary way to level your character. I'd recommend reading through all the tasks so you fully understand what to do. If you get lost or stuck, you can always just look it up on YouTube. There are a lot of really good, helpful task guides already available out there. A quick hint as well, some tasks will also give you grid coordinates. This can help you out a lot on your first missions. Just open up your map and the coordinates will appear with your mouse cursor on screen. Now that you've got your kit set up and your first tasks have been accepted, you'll want to open up your map and choose your available landing zone. You will unlock additional landing zones as you progress through the game, and this can be done just by completing tasks or by going out and locating the zones yourself. Keep in mind during PvP that the enemy faction can obtain the same landing zones as you can, so be alert for PvP at landing zones. Once you choose your LZ, the little bird should arrive at the helicopter pad within about 15 to 30 seconds. Keep in mind they will not wait around forever. This applies both at base and when you're getting picked up in the field, so make sure you get on the bird quickly. The helicopter will take you to your LZ, and again, these are the same every time with no deviation of a set course, so be careful in player versus player, and you are much less likely to encounter PvP in the starter city, but this will most likely change as other players progress and enemy players decide to venture out for some easy to find PvP. Now, if you died during your deployment, you can actually go back and get your gear off your body, but I'd highly recommend bringing a gun to shoot down the additional AI. The reason for this is obviously your body might not be in a safe location and you could easily get shot down again before retrieving your gear. Now, unfortunately, if this does occur and you do get shot down a second time before being able to get to your body and retrieve your gear, your first body will actually completely disappear. So this is why you have to be extra careful when going to retrieve your kit if you do die. Now, this is important because I was confused as to how this worked. If you're looking for a specific key to unlock a locked door, all you have to do is kill and loot the AI in the immediate vicinity of the location of where the locked door is located. The keys for these locked doors will only spawn in the pockets of the AI you kill within that area. Now, when you have completed your missions and you have some decent loot you'd like to bring back to the base, all you have to do to exfil is open your map and request a pickup by clicking on the base camp landing zone option located at the base. When you get back to the base, make sure you offload any gear you don't wish to bring with you on your next deployment. Also, sell any items that you do not need to a vendor to make a little bit of extra cash. Now, typically, if I don't really find anything of significance and I still have an empty backpack, I'll just start picking up firearms off of the dead AI and sell those to at least make something additional on top of whatever I'm getting for doing the tasks. Now, a few closing recommendations I have here before we end the video. Gray Zone Warfare is the type of game to really take your time for the most part. You can't really get away with just sprinting around and playing the game like it's Call of Duty. I know a lot of players get away with this in games like Escape from Tarkov because most of the time what they lack in tactical awareness they make up for in aim or quality equipment. Sure, you might be able to pull off some crazy kills by catching people off guard by just running around and flanking, but just because your playstyle works every once in a while doesn't make it a good play style. This is a very slow-paced style of game, hence why it's a tactical shooter. I know players who aren't familiar with milsims and tactical FPSs tend to cringe at the idea of having a more slow play style, but this is what the game is trying to be. It's catering towards the more milsim audience more than the aggressive COD style of gameplay. Plan out your deployments, have a set goal or task. If you're going in to complete missions, focus on doing those missions. Don't deviate across the city city to unlock rooms, to go after PvP fights. Try to focus on that one task. Have a set priority when going into a deployment. It will help you stay focused, and it'll really help as well if you're playing with a team. A lot of times I see everyone's team members just running around and kind of doing their own thing. This will typically get people killed. Regardless of whether or not it's a PvE or a PvP game mode, you're risking a lot of people's time as well. No one wants to sit there and wait for you to get back to your body because you are being negligent. Focus on your objective, have set goals, and play together and coordinate. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this guide. It took me quite some time to get all this together. Let me know what you think down below, and I will see you in the next video.